Welcome to the Secrets of Asset Protection. My name is Douglas Lodmell, and today I'd like to talk about the three biggest things that I'm seeing in my office. My office is a little bit like a barometer for any particular industry or the economy in general. For example, I knew about 9 months before the media did and the rest of us did that we were going to have a subprime mortgage crisis. How did I know? I started getting the calls in my office from those people in the business, people that own the mortgage companies. They were concerned about their subprime portfolios. So sure enough, that happened. I'm now getting a very consistent message, and I wanted to give you all the benefit of this information. So there's really three big things that I'm seeing coming into my office. Let's take a look. Number one, real estate. Absolutely by far the biggest issue. Now, this is not a surprise. Everybody knows that the market is down. But if you look at CNN, if you look at Fox, if you look at the television, what they're saying is that it's down, maybe we've stabilized, maybe 12 to 18 months. That's not what I'm hearing at all. Hearing quite a different story. I'm hearing those in the business. These are people who are really in the business of real estate. They are really gearing up for an absolute downturn, a real serious bubble pop, and it hasn't happened yet. We're seeing a lot more deals go bad, a lot more deals go bad. I've got also clients calling me saying, I have a project, it was a $16 million project at the peak. It's probably, in today's estimated market worth $12 million, we still owe $8 million, and we're talking about giving it back to the bank. I dig a little deeper, okay, if it's worth 12 and you owe 8, why are you giving it back to the bank? The reality is that there is not a single buyer in the market, no one. And when I ask the tough question, okay, what's it worth if you have to get rid of it today? Their answer is more like 3 or 4. We're in a crisis situation around real estate, and you're not getting the straight story on the news, so be aware of that. These deals are going bad more frequently, and they're also getting much more litigious. Almost every real estate deal is now a lawsuit. If any of you watched the case of Mr. Target, you can see how that can turn very bad. If you haven't, take a look at it. It's on the YouTube. Number 2, employee issues. We're just getting a lot more clients calling us. Most of my clients, I would say 85% of my clients are employers. They have employees. Getting a lot more calls from my clients saying, just got this letter, and I say, send it over to me, and when I look at it, it's very clear to me that it was written by an attorney. So we're getting a lot more attorney involvement earlier in the employee issues. In other words, the employees are turning the attorneys onto their situation before there's really a situation. And the carefully worded letters are coming in to document the file. This is not a surprise to me either. We saw this 2 and 3 years ago when we started talking about that the plaintiff's attorneys are trolling in the employee field much more frequently. There's a lot more advertising and marketing campaigns directed at getting employees for the plaintiff's attorneys. So if you have employees, now is the time to really make sure you understand your employment rules. This is probably one of the most complicated areas of law today. 50 different states, federal rules on top of it, and it's getting more complicated. So you have to understand all these things can be taken care of. This one is really knowledge is power if you get it beforehand. Number 3, it's the economy. It's the economy. It really is. And I'm not talking about just the general economy. Of course, CNN is already saying we're in a recession. I'm talking about the economy that underlies the economy that we function on. And that's really the money supply, the tightness of the money. I have a client base that has overall incredible credit, incredible borrowing power. Clients that do asset protection usually are Class A borrowers. They can't get money right now. The money supply, and this is a combination of the subprime market, the banks tightening up. We really have a perfect storm set up here for a very serious economic problem. So what does that mean for you? Well, if you're one of my clients and you've done your asset protection, that's great, because asset protection gets stronger with age. It works by far the best when you've done it when the waters were calm, and we use it later if the waters get rough. The thing I would say is that if you've done your asset protection, make sure it's all funded properly. We've had cases where a client will have switched assets and taken it out of the plan and didn't put the new asset in the plan. Asset protection means you have your planning, it's structured properly, and it's funded properly. So if you have any questions about that, call our office, please. Let's get it right. What does that mean for you if you haven't done your asset protection? Well, what it means is that if you're not in a crisis yet, now is the time. I would be looking at the general economic scenario today and saying, what's the worst case scenario for me personally? Do you hold real estate? Do you have employees? Is your business really dependent on the economy? Now's the time to plan. We can do a lot as long as the waters are calm. Even if they've started to get rough, we can do a lot. It's when they get rough, it's when you have that problem that we get frozen. There is a line in the sand. So if you haven't done your asset protection, I would recommend do it. At least look into it so you understand what your options are and where you stand. Planning is really the key in this area. So hope this has been helpful, and remember, information leads to understanding, understanding leads to clarity, and clarity leads to power. Take the power.